So when Shakespeare wrote, he would write the scene, and he would write the act number and the scene, and then he would go up to the actor and hand them only their part, which was rolled up in a scroll. He'd go, "Here is your role." They would take it, and they would know when to come in, where to come in on stage, and when to speak. It was permission to speak at the Globe. Here is your role. And it was given out in non-linear fashion, usually, to all the actors. Then it all organized in linear fashion. He wrote in linear. He wrote in prose, and he wrote in verse. He wrote in iambic pentameter. How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. To be or not to be. Okay? That's iambic pentameter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As in 10. Iambic pentameter. He wrote a masculine ending and a feminine ending. So it could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 was iambic pentameter, so that they could remember and knew when to replace it and how to speak. Exactly as we do now with YouTube. Very similar in the fact that it was a placement thing, when it was uploaded, when it was done, and the actors would go up there and speak. Meaning they were given the roles, given time to memorize and time to speak. It was done at a certain time, probably 1590s through 1600 or so. Interesting. Shakespeare was a genius. He could write it all out in his head and know exactly how the play would sound. Basically, he was writing what sounded like music in prose and verse. He always said, the play is the thing. The play is the thing. All right, 8478, 3.5. So was William Shakespeare a filmmaker? Not exactly, because they didn't have film, but he was a playwright. But if they did have film, he probably would have been invited by the Queen Elizabeth. But if we can time travel, we'd go back and give him a camera, give him a YouTube show. It'd be called the William Shakespeare, known as the Bard. And it would be on YouTube. We'd watch versions of William Kemp. Or actually Kemp is what they called him. He was a clown. Kemp would jump around as Puck. He'd play the funny parts. Maybe he'd play, I don't know, one of Falstaff characters in many of his comedies, his body comedies, like Love Labour's Lost, or what was it? He might have made an appearance in 12th Night. I mean, they could have cut it. Who knows? Remember, the actors are the ones that put it all together. It better have white boots. It does. It's a white booted cat. Just documenting. Go kitty, tuxedo. Tuxedos only. There we go. That's a good kitty. Tuxedo. Okay. So the actors would put it together. The actors, Shakespeare had no library, no copy of a script. So the actors had the scripts. You know, if you're a playwright, you're going to send those scripts out to actors. They all got back together and created the folio, which was all Shakespeare's work, including his sonnets. So it was like 38. How many plays did he have? How many sonnets? Well, we'll find out. William Shakespeare had 39 plays and 154 sonnets. One of them being, I compare you to a summer's day, which he said it differently. One of my favorites is Hamlet, the play, the drama. I also am a big fan of Midsummer Night's Dream. I do like Twelfth Night. I also like As You Like It. I like the Sir Oliver Martext character. And I like Duke Frederick and As You Like It. And I like Touchstone and As You Like It as well. Twelfth Night starts with a prince that says this. He could have been a duke, but he was prince-like. He said this: if music be the food of love, play on. Antithesis: food and music. If music be the food of love, play on. Twelfth Night. He did many of them. Also like the Scottish play, and just like Ethan Hawke, I call it the Scottish play. It starts with an M, it's got a C in it, and somewhere in the lines it has a Beth. Some are scared of that one, but it's okay to say while the play's in production. Or then if you say it at the wrong time, you got to walk backwards, spin around 3 times, and spit around your left shoulder, I think, and salt's involved. They use real witchcraft. He used real spells in the Scottish play. I do it out of respect for William Shakespeare. Another thing that William Shakespeare wrote that was wonderful was The Tempest. It's magical. There is a great artist, Julian Taymor, directed The Tempest for Broadway for us to watch. Maybe off-Broadway or Broadway, but it went around that area. Julian Taymor works with a friend of mine named Lake Simons, who is a puppeteer. Julian Taymor is kind of a puppeteer. She's more of a director. So is Lake. Lake's a director too. Shakespeare's Tempest is great. It's wonderful. And he was quite the poet. Shakespeare was a poet. Romeo and Juliet's also a very good one. But I'm going to have to say Midsummer Night's Dream is my favorite. I like Puck. I like the idea of separating the fairies, the hobgoblins, the lovers, the king of the fairies. I like the idea of having royalty being involved with the life of this otherworldly fantasy that Puck runs around at the speed of light. I like that idea. I like the idea of Midsummer Night's Dream. I am Puck. I jest for Oberon. You could easily say Shakespeare's 424 years old, or even older than that, because he wrote over a span of time, definitely in the 1590s. And that's when what's interesting is that he was writing The Tempest and talking about the travels to America and the storms that they would go through from traveling from England or the shores of England all the way to America. Amazing. Now we are traveling to where they performed many Shakespeare plays for many years, right over here, and then down that way and to the right. I'll just go down that way rather than the back alley. Rob, who's a playwright, I'm a playwright as well, we also did a scene from Once in a Lifetime right over here, from the 3 shorts too. One of the shorts was called From Now Until Morning. The second one is The Way of Man, and the third one, That Side. We did The Way of Man down there on the bridge. Shakespeare was done right here at Shakespeare in the Park. That is Staten Museum Way right here. Yeah. Or Staten Museum Way, and then right through here. The memorial is right here. Beyond that is Shakespeare in the Park. 2017 was the last. They would park right here. That is where we started Once in a Lifetime. Because we only have Once in a Lifetime. That's Trinity Park. That's where they did Shakespeare in the Park. Shakespeare was done during the time of the Renaissance, the time of light. Everything was full on. So if you played music, you played Renaissance music. If you danced to the Renaissance. Wine was in the air. Everything was like a red color. It was very festive. Lots of holly. They did bear baiting, so they were kind of violent a little bit. They also did, well, they believed in fairies, and they believed in witches and things like that. And they held these dances, and flutes were in the air playing flutes. And the globe, which burnt down at one time and then was rebuilt, was where everybody met to get the information, because the Renaissance was about getting information. It was an information age. People say that we're in an information age today, but the Renaissance was about learning new science, coming up with new theories. Everyone was just out of the Gothic period, happy and dancing and festive, and they sang a song like dun 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 dun. And Billy Corgan went, okay, I dig it. Billy Corgan was like, okay, but remember the Gothic period? I gotta make a phone call. So in the Renaissance, did they believe in God? They believed in science. Yes, they believed in God, because the royalty had to believe in God, because that's where they came from. They were royalty. Queen Elizabeth was royalty because of God. But yes, they believed in science too. They were developing what we know now as the computer. That started all the way back in the Renaissance time. The abacus, things like that. They were developing all different cultures. They meshed it all together and got as much knowledge as they could and said, let's go and advance everything. But everything got screwed up by about 1640. But they tried to stay in the Renaissance as long as we could. And then all of a sudden, Mark Zuckerberg was born. Way later. Probably like the 1980s. And man, let me tell you, Mark Zuckerberg, he changed a lot. That was the pizza receiver. I just watched a great vlog. A guy named Stephen Wallace. He does camping. He just did a thing where he camped in a parking garage the other night and released it. He's very funny. But he's also very methodical, and he's very intelligent. So he slept in his car overnight in the parking garage, but he's camped everywhere. He's done like median camping, where you camp like in the middle of basically like the road. But he comes up with new ideas all the time, and he's very entertaining. He also likes IPAs. And sometimes he even does like regular camping, like a tent camping. He used to pull this thing along a bicycle. He had a bicycle thing that was like a little house that was pulled by a bicycle. He's a troubadour. Aha. This is the courtyard. As I say, dun 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 dun. I can play it on guitar, by the way, if you ever want me to audition for Shakespeare. I can play Henry VIII's Green Sleeves, written by the one and only. I can play it on guitar. We didn't agree. We agreed courtyard, but the courtyard wraps around. And I'm getting kind of Christoph Waltz, which Christoph is teaching acting in New York. Well, another night of delivery. I hope you enjoyed the Shakespeare. We're going to be passing something just as brilliant that they had in the Renaissance, only they used horses, but they did have the wheel, and they did have the bicycle. Had a version of it. And this is the pedal. It's called pedaling in the night for partying. Another night of delivery. We will and shall head back to see. Look at the doggy. Linda and Kitty. Because I am at the disadvantage of knowing all, I know some before and after. But I do go with the regular Coca-Cola. And I do go with Coke Zero. Just in case the other one, or one of the others, is wrong. The macadamians I like. My favorite are the, they're gonna be, a second. I just told the clerk about the Please Subscribe show on the Cole Spivey channel, and he's pretty cool. All right, so Christoph Waltz, one of the many good actors. He was from Vienna in Austria. He knows Deutschland, and a very good actor. He's teaching acting class right now in New York City, so he'll be teaching. I highly recommend Christoph Waltz. He's a complete genius. He's masterful. One of our geniuses. Now, great actors: Gary Oldman, Christoph Waltz, Marlon Brando, James Dean. Anyone that studied with Stella Adler, or Lee Strasberg, or Sanford Meisner, or Uta Hagen. Matthew Broderick, brilliant actor. Robert Duvall, Robert De Niro, one of our best of all, compared to Eleonora Duse. James Lipton was good. He was my trainer. He trained us to be giving. First, well, with me, first Jesus. Second, others. Third, me. So, but there's a lot of talented people out there. Marlon Brando is one of my favorites. It's cookie time. It's going to be in here. It says oatmeal. I don't know if you can read it. You can hear me. Oatmeal cookie. There we go. The top oatmeal cookie. 7-Eleven. And I have a 0 Coke with 0 calories. So I level out the balancing. So I'm doing something, you know, like this is a filtered water with serum and stuff in it. Pretty good. It's not the best thing for you, but every once in a while it's a good treat. Really, as an actor, you should drink tea and water. Christoph Waltz will tell you he drinks tea and water and has honey, because he used to be an opera singer, which is an important aspect of learning your voice. Throwing your voice, go out in a field and say a line, to be or not to be, and throw it through to the sun. Come up with stories. Stanislavski believed in that. The actor isn't on stage, then he's too busy writing stories. It doesn't look like oatmeal. It looks like what I wanted was a macadamia. Macadamia. Cookie. Cookie for Cole. Cookie. Cookie for Cole. Cookie. Cookie. Watch vloggers. Bob Lavelle, before he passed away, he said there's a lot of good documentaries for actors to watch. Watch documentaries. They're on Netflix, they're on Hulu, they're on Apple TV. Good documentaries, Channel 13, PBS, or YouTube. Have a good night.